Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Up Supercast Game Club. My name is Brandon, and I am your host. And joining me today, I have Ills.
Oh, yeah. Check it.
I have Noah.
Teamwork.
And we got returning from a long time from the Up Supercast Game Club. Hasn't been on an episode in a while, but welcome back, Saf.
The blood moon rises once again. It's been a long time. Did I do the right one? I think I did the right one for intro.
Yes, you're good. You're good. And, yeah, welcome back, Saf. It's been a while. I think the last episode you were on was The Missing.
Yeah. Wait, was that the last episode, or was it Psychonauts?
No.
No, you were on
The Missing was after Psychonauts.
Yeah.
The missing was all right. Fair enough. Then yeah, it was the missing.
Yeah.
More like you were missing.
Saf was missing.
I was missing. Yeah.
Well, Saf, this is another one-off for you, correct? You're not. Don't tell the people don't get too excited because you're not back permanently, right? Because you just played this game and you could.
I have some thoughts.
Yes, exactly. So, we always welcome back Saf here because he was one of the original members of the game club. So anytime we're playing a game, if he has played it as well, then you're always welcome here to come and talk about games.
Yay!
So speaking of games, the game that we played this episode was Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. Brand new, just came out. On November 20th, 2020, and I chose this game for us to play. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity was developed by Omega Force and published by Nintendo. It's actually published by Koei Tecmo in Japan, but published by Nintendo everywhere else. And it's if you know anything about the Hyrule Warriors or the Warrior series or the Musou series or anything that Omega Force has developed before, this is in that series of games, and is a kind of a sequel to the original Hyrule Warriors game, but also more of a prequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So,
Sort of, yes. We'll get into that, but it does take place in the Breath of the Wild canon and art style and series. The way that game is presented instead of Hyrule Warriors, which the original Hyrule Warriors, which made its own kind of it's a Zelda style, but it's your own unique style, and that was more of a hodgepodge of just Zelda characters from all over the franchise, as opposed to this game, which is more just centered in the Breath of the Wild, like mythos.
Universe,
Yeah. And so the reason I picked this game, like I mentioned, and the reason why I picked it, it's simple. It had just come out, and I was looking forward to playing it. I wanted to play it, so I figured, why not just pick it? Because I knew that the rest of you guys were wanting to play it too. So I figured, this is the perfect time to just pick this game and play it for the game club and talk about it. And also, it can include, like Saf, because I knew Saf, you were interested in playing it too. So I was like, well, if we play this, and Saf can be on the episode. Will also played it, but he wasn't able to make it. So I just knew it was a good time. I felt like it was a good time to pick this game. So
yeah.
Just wanted to get out of the way. That'll be the only game I focused on for the 2 weeks. So, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, like I said, takes place in the Breath of the Wild style. And if you haven't played a Musou game before, I guess I'll try to do a brief explanation of how those games work. Basically, hack and slash is the word I would use. It's a hack and slash style game. Yeah. And those games basically have you on a battlefield, wiping out hundreds, if not thousands, of enemies. Lots of them being fodder enemies, where you can just
fodder,
where you can just run through and slice and destroy big groups of enemies at once. You also have
like bases or zones, and you kind of can try to control the map by taking over and beating like kind of mini boss or stronger characters that are like guarding each area, and take it over for your side to control the zones and win over the map. In a lot of times, so it's basically big war maps in the Hyrule Warriors games, or no, the Dynasty Warriors games, sorry. You have two like opposing forces and just big armies of people going at it. I will say that this game it does differ from, it has that standard gameplay, but it does differ in terms of like how the battle flow goes and the objectives on the maps from your typical Dynasty Warriors games.
There's a lot less focus on capturing like bases.
The outposts and
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah, I noticed that. Like, there was never like a big turnover. It was like they were bases being threatened and stuff, but they never really like allies weren't crying for help that often. Like, very rarely. It was only like more towards like more because of the story that they were having trouble, rather than actually like losing to the enemy because they were being overwhelmed and you had to go help them and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think like the Musou series have been trying that, like trying to diversify their gameplay more and more recently than previously. Like the best example I can give was like Attack on Titan, where they kind of like focus more on like big enemies than they did on like just capturing outposts, and the same formula as you mentioned about like just taking over and capturing all the outposts and defending the camps.
But there was
I always
definitely
forget that.
good variety of like the stronger enemies too.
Yeah.
I do always forget that Attack on Titan game is actually a Musou game, because it's just straight up called Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
So it's easy to forget that is one of them. But yeah, you're right, Seth. They have been definitely experimenting with the series as of late. I would say like the last 5 years or so, they've been really because this is a series that's been around for a while, and they've been doing a lot of different things, taking a lot of different licenses and franchises, and making game spin-offs based on Dynasty Warriors. Because one of the biggest complaints, right, that Dynasty Warriors got after having, like dozens of games, is that they all felt like the same. Like they would come out over and over again, and so many of them just felt like the same thing over and over. And
They basically created their own genre. That's why everybody calls it a Musou game.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it basically was the same. I can't tell how many games have Lu Bu in it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have been trying to diversify their library and make their games, even if at the core it's kind of the same, but doing different, just different things and making it a little bit different than just doing the same thing over and over again, which is, I think, for the best, because this is one of the best, if better, if not one of the best Musou games that I've played, if not the best Musou game that I've played, because it does diversify itself, and especially one of the things is in the characters, and the way that they all play. I think is one thing is a huge strength for this game, and especially comparative to other Musou games, but just in general as a game, I think it is one of my favorite things. It's just all the different characters and how they play.
Each character is very unique. I mean, even like the Guardians that have they're kind of like repetitive a little bit, because they have like counterparts. They're unique to each other. Like they all have a specific gimmick and a way to play that makes it kind of interesting to play each one. So even though it's hack and slashy and repetitive, you get a different experience every time you use a different character.
Oh yeah,
Right.
definitely. What was interesting about this one that was different to Hyrule Warriors is like Hyrule Warriors, the moveset was more focused based on like the weapons that you have, but whereas this one it seems more determined by like the type of character that you play.
Yeah, except if you lose Link, because he still has like multiple weapons you can use, and that gives him different playstyles. But everybody
And
has
Zelda.
another character, and Zelda.
Zelda has two different.
Zelda only has like
She has
two
two.
though, right?
Yeah.
She has two.
Link has three.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then every other character only has. Well, they can equip different weapons, but they only have one playstyle.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but there's enough characters to go around.
There's so many.
There's not as many as Hyrule Warriors, the original, but
not yet.
Not yet, but yeah, and they only had to pull from one Zelda game as opposed to the entire franchise, like Hyrule Warriors did. But I think they really did an awesome job of capturing each of these characters and how they would play, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, they did a terrific job on like bringing out their personality and everything.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have a favorite character?
For sure.
So
like I have my top 4 is literally Urbosa, Impa, Link with the Master Sword, and Mipha.
Nice.
I had like the character I used the most was, and I thought like I made like a broken strategy with, was Rivali. I was just like swooping in and just taking out hundreds of enemies so fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 'cause it's fucking
and
fun.
then if there's a play style and like for characters, actually she'll go into spoiler territory.
I wouldn't go into endgame, but I would say some of the unlockable character, like the extra ones, like they're fine.
Yeah. So I really like the monk that you unlock. He's like a secret unlockable that you have to do like side quests for. He was really fun. And I love like when I first unlocked him, I was like, holy shit, you get to play as one of these guys from like the Breath of the Wild. It's so cool.
Yeah, the old Sheikah monks.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
And then one of like the villains that turns over to your side. I won't say names yet. It's okay. The obvious,
I know
goofy,
who,
very
of
goofy.
course. The obvious Noah pick, yes. I got. I mean, my definite favorite, much like the original Hyrule Warriors, my definite favorite was Impa, even though she plays very differently from that game. Like, I just loved her making the clones and like having, she would just tear into whole groups of enemies, but like when you have all the clones that you could have, which is very satisfying.
She's 100% broken. Like,
Impa's awesome.
Yeah, I've added so many fucking regular attack up buffs onto her main weapon, and all I have to do is just run in 40 deep with like Impa and her clothes, and just watch like the weak point bars just obliterate in a matter of like seconds.
Yeah, and she gets her special attack up super fast.
Yeah, totally. And it's fucking amazing just how easily you can just overwhelm the enemies with her. It's really good.
I will say my least favorite character was definitely Zelda.
Oh, yeah.
I do not like playing as Zelda, either weapon style.
It's weird. It was
I thought it was interesting at first, but it was just like awkward.
I like that they gave her the Sheikah slate, and she uses like all the different powers with it.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool, but
a cool idea. It was just like weird.
It was weird to play as.
Especially coming off like the Zelda from Hyrule Warriors 1. She was awesome in the first game. And like, oh man. Like I felt bad that she's like the main character in this game and she's not fun to play as.
Yeah, I had to spend like quite a while to just get used to her playstyle and just used to the... Because like I used the amiibo to unlock the fucking Ball of Light early. So I just... and that made her gameplay better, but not much.
Yeah, not much.
Then that took some significant amount of time to just learn and just get used to and just basically get good at. With
Yeah, it does work weird. I was a big fan of. I like using Link a lot with his Master Sword. I think it's really fun. I was surprised that I actually had fun with his other styles too, but I prefer the one hand, one shield. But I did like the spear. I thought it was actually kind of fun to use. I liked Mipha a lot. Speaking of spears, I thought
Mipha's
she was
great.
really fun. Yeah, I like her being able to summon a little water spout and to transport and pop out of it and get air. I thought that was really fun to use too. And Urbosa's, I want to like Urbosa more, but the managing like that extra bar with the electricity is kind of weird, but I do like it though.
Yeah, I like her attack animations a lot. Like she's super cool, but that bar is kind of annoying sometimes.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end because I really like that kind of like management style, like trying to strategize your battle. Well, trying to manage the lightning bar, because you can. All I do is just figure out ways of like, okay, how best to use the lightning in this fight, and then how best to like regenerate it, and it's an extra level of technicality to her character that I've actually enjoyed, and I enjoy playing as her because of it.
Yeah, there are certain combos at the end of the combo you can use the button that you normally use to discharge electricity to charge up a bar.
Yeah.
It's like you just have to figure out the patterns in the combos.
Yeah. The easiest way to do it is literally, well, I'm sure you've already known this, but like the easiest way to do it is just fucking do the weak point attack, and it just automatically, like, as soon as you hit the weak point bar, just mash the fucking strong attack and the lightning, and then hit the weak point attack and have that regenerate completely. And then you just have like full lightning in for the next fight.
Yeah. Speaking of multiple characters with multiple weapons, I wish they would let you switch weapons mid-battle. Because there are so few characters that have multiple weapons that, I mean, and it's like, what would it change, really? Like, it would just be so much easier to be able to use, you know, multiple fucking weapons for each character, rather than having to select them before the battle. But
yeah, especially with Link, that'd be really cool to be able to switch playstyles mid-battle. That would actually be awesome. Yeah. I wish you could do that too. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that as an option, but yeah, now you mention it, that would be cool. I'd like that a lot. All the characters too have like a unique ZR move, where basically they have like kind of special abilities or unique abilities, each of them. And I thought that was neat too, that they all have. It just diversifies them even more.
Adds a little, another
I think it's
level of
really
flavor
cool.
to them. Definitely.
yeah, I mean, and they all also have they all use the Sheikah Slate runes, but they all use them in very different ways. So I mean, even though it's the same rune, like you get a different animation, a different, you know, move that comes out. This is pretty decent, pretty cool. It makes them interesting in their own different way. Yeah,
I both like and there was a couple times where I randomly would dislike it because I would like summon the ice block for like trying to stop a guy, and it would not work as I was used to, you know, because I was using a different character and I wouldn't be able to pull it off. But, you know, I did like that each character used it differently, because it just keeps bringing it makes every character more unique, which is, you know, something that you want to see in these kind of games, especially when you have different characters, you know.
You want a reason to like choose somebody else other than the guy that you've been strategizing and like fully buffed up and shit.
So it's not just cosmetic, you know. You actually get to see different play styles and different strategies.
And what I think is the coolest part of this game is that at the start of each mission, you can deploy multiple characters and you can switch between them at any time, and that's like huge. That and being able to order them around the map. That saves so much time. Like
it's awesome. It's awesome.
It's the best addition, I think. I don't know if it's the first Muso game that had that, but
I don't think so. I think that's been around.
It has been in other Muso games, but it is a great thing to have.
Yeah.
It hasn't been in. It wasn't in the first Hyrule Warriors though, right?
I don't remember.
I
have played a Muso game.
No, it was. It was in the first.
It was. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, still, that's.
And
regardless, it is
also
a good thing
switch
to have.
between characters in the first Hyrule Warriors as well.
I don't remember that, but yeah, I'll take your word for it.
You could, but depends on the mission. Where you could or couldn't. But yeah, it is great to just like divvy up and just tell a character. You know, when you have multiple like areas to capture, you just say, okay, you go here, you go here, you go here, and then. You know, you take your one character there. By the time you get them there and take it over, the other characters are there, and you just switch and you boom, boom, boom. You complete all your objectives, and it's it saves a lot of time with these type of games because the maps sometimes they're pretty big, and sometimes they're
and you get distracted on the way you want to take out all the enemies.
yeah, exactly. So it helps cut down some of the needless backtracking or walking around the maps, which is really cool. Definitely a good thing. When you fight the enemies as well, like the bigger enemies, I do like they added some things in this that bring it past the normal Muso game, because it's still got the usually in these types of games when you would fight one of the bigger enemies, you would have to just kind of dodge or wait for a certain moment where their weakness bar would pop up, and then you just try to hit them and whittle away at it. But this game actually like introduces
a thing from the Breath of the Wild, where you if you dodge at the last second, like in this window of time, you get the Fury
attack.
Yeah, the flurry, where you dodge, everything goes in slow motion except for you, and you can just hack away, just like in Breath of the Wild. And that's one of the things they added in this game, which is really cool that they have that in there. It adds another way to, a depth of fighting when you're going against enemies, and a way to get to that bar. And then another thing is they all have different attacks where they'll do an attack, and if you activate one of your Sheikah Slate runes fast enough to stop them, again, you can counter their attacks with the Sheikah Slate, which is really cool as well.
And you stun
There's
them.
also-
You can break their posture or whatever.
So the
There's
bosses
also
have
the parry attack that they
multiple
have.
ways to get to their weakness bar.
And then you can use one of the magic rods
Yeah.
to
Yeah, that's
Yep.
right, yeah.
burn,
You can use the
stun, or
magic rod.
freeze.
Yeah, and some of them have weaknesses to certain things
Elements.
that'll hurt. Yeah, the elements that'll hurt them even more. And if you use your special attack, it instantly brings up their bar as well. So there's a lot. There's
And
a
also-
lot there.
And also, if you hit them in certain spots, it'll also do extra
Yeah.
damage.
I've
like-
noticed that. Yeah.
You can use the bow against guardians, and if you hit them in the eye, it'll do extra damage.
Yeah,
Just like in
the
the-
big the big giant guys. If you use Link's bow with a ZR and aim up and hit him in the eye, you'll stun him, and you can just run up to him and start hitting him, which is cool because it's just like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
Yep.
like they took so many like elements from Breath of the Wild and like mixed it in. It was really nice. We really felt nice and familiar, and like it was a nice throwback to the original.
Right. It's almost like if you played Breath of the Wild, you get an advantage because you know some of these characters' weaknesses.
You
Sorry,
really
Seth,
do.
what were you gonna say?
Yeah, well, just to go back to the older one, is that what you mentioned, saying like diversifying the way in which you can like really get access to their hit point, like that's a good way of addressing the criticisms of the previous Hyrule Warriors, where you just had to wait for an opportunity to access their weak point.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you don't need to wait if you don't want to. You have a variety of tool sets to be able to just get more easily at it and do significant damage. The other thing that I was going to say as well is that they really do fucking amazing work in terms of like trying to bring that in. Whereas like the Lionel fight is, well, when you fight them, I know this from experience because I spent a fucking bitch ton of time fighting the Lionels, but their moves are almost exactly the same in as they are in Breath of the Wild. Like, as soon as I saw one, I knew what to do, and I moved exactly in time without needing any sort of practice because I've already had that practice in Breath of the Wild. It's crazy how well they've really incorporated those types of fights.
Yeah, I
think
mean,
the Lionels were like the toughest like big enemy bosses, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially the fire Lionels.
They're
just
tougher. They're tougher than the Guardians.
I mean, as much as I appreciate the attention to detail they added, they have way too many fucking fights with these guys at the end of the game. Like Lionels and Hinox and those Taluses. My God, you fight like a billion of them. Which is,
I hate the Taluses. Those are the rock guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking hate those guys.
Those are absolutely.
It was like at the last like 5 stages of the game, you just get them every map, and I was like, oh man, fuck this, dude.
Brutal. It's
At that point, I had a really
to...
overpowered broken character, so I didn't mind. Fucking Rivali, man. And like one of the things that I like about this game too is that you get to fuse weapons to like transfer skills over to make your weapon more powerful. It's basically how you power up your character, and you can basically like take full advantage of that. So like there's skills like for every 100 enemies you get 2 or 4% or 6% extra damage for the whole rest of the round. So you can just like go like on a slaughter and kill all the enemies and then get like a 500 KOs and you suddenly have like 20% more damage in your attacks. And you just wail on those like the big enemies. That's basically what I started doing with Rivali. I had I started with his regular bow and I kept stacking up mid-air attack skills from 70% to 14 to 21, and they get even stronger if you add the same skill too.
So
and Rivali's basically one of his moves is you fly and you're in midair. So
you just stay in there the whole time.
Yep, stay in there all the time. So you just throw like 6 arrows at a time with your bow. It has a widespread shot, and I was just fucking clearing out fields.
I think you get damage boost when you're in the air too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like some fights with with enemies, like if you're in the air, you hit their weak point meter because I think you're just in the headshots. Which gives you the advantage. Yeah, as well. So like having Rivali in midair with like buffs to his fucking midair attack is super fucking useful. I also
especially against the big rock dudes because you can just hit their weak point.
The weak point right away.
Yeah.
For me, like all I did was like I built a weapon that allowed Mifa to be like a Talos killer, which literally just had put a whole bunch of attack speed up gems on her fucking weapon, and I just used that big ass tornado attack that she does, like the strong attack. So every time I'm facing a Talos, I just quickly mash through the combo that I need to get through to do the tornado attack, and just hit the weak point from behind with the fucking tornado, so I could just get through it quickly. Which is really fucking advantageous, and which is kind of the fun part of the game as well. The ability to be able to customize and further customize your characters to be taken to take advantage of certain situations, certain problems.
Right.
This is what I've spent like 100 hours doing without actually beating the game. Like this is spoiler for the
seems like a big
episode.
investment.
I was doing that too. Like, first of all, I wanted to 100% the game, but the game throws so many extra side quests at you and challenges, like every time. Even after you beat one of the challenges, it unlocks another 2 or 3 for you.
Sometimes,
up until chapter 5, I was like, after chapter 5, just a shit ton unlocked. Because after you finish every chapter, like a good amount of them just unlock for you.
Yeah.
Based on
and each time you get a new
unlock.
character. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was just like, I just sat there for like a good minute just watching like the map go ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, no, I'm just focusing on my characters. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really like the side quests. I gotta say, it's just too much of the same. Like, they just overwhelm you with all these fucking, like you said, they just keep unlocking. I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this. I'm not interested.
There's a lot. I mean, if you're somebody who is really interested in these games, there's a lot there. There's a lot to do. There's some neat unlockables that you can get. I noticed where like different clothing for Link, because Link you can like change his clothes, like all the different stuff you can have in Breath of the Wild. So there's stuff you can unlock. There's the extra characters like we mentioned. You can unlock the monk. And spoiler alert, I guess, but you can unlock because this isn't endgame stuff, so I won't talk about that. But you can unlock the Great Fairy, so you can unlock extra characters while you do it. So some of the side quests are worth doing, and they do. Some of them offer like unique objectives. There's like the don't get hit once, or just different stuff that aren't presented in the main story. But that being said, I do agree that it is like overwhelming. There's just so much, and it's just like, if you're just in it for the story, you're just like, oh my god, there's so much here, But and it is a lot of time to dedicate to completing all of it. I think. I know Will did 100% of the game.
Didn't he say it was like 159 side missions or some shit like that, or?
There's a lot of side missions. I don't know how many exactly. Including like all the things where you can unlock extra combos for your characters and bonus hearts and special gauges can go up. So there's a lot of stuff. One of the things I do kind of like about the side missions and those little things where you click on them and it gives you like a brief like explanation of like why you're doing the mission, or like how the character unlocks his like combo, like where they were training or whatever.
Yeah,
I think those are neat. I did kind of just after a while give up reading them, admittedly. But at first, it is a little cool thing if you're really into it. You can read all of them, and it gives a little insight. I think it's kind of cool.
I like that they paid so much of detail to like. I mean, they basically just reused like all like the imagery from like Breath of the Wild for like all the items, the foods, and the rocks and all that stuff, and like even the whole map, they just took like the whole map and just used it as your like hub world, which is I really like that. Like it feels very familiar, but also like something you didn't really see. Well, not see, but they used it in a different way than Breath of the Wild did, obviously. But
yeah, it's a cohesive presentation with the first game. Yeah, I really like the stage select screen and the presentation with every narration screen where it's told in like the style of like the ancient text. You know, you see the little figurines or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's cool too. I will say that during the story missions, where they read it to you and the game is loading while you're getting this little presentation, I like that because by the time usually you're done reading, you only have to wait a few seconds or it's already done loading. But when you're doing side missions, the load times, man, they're pretty long. They they tend to be it's boring. You're just sitting there. It's like a good minute sometimes. It's long load times.
It is quite insane because like the performance in the game is kind of generally not that fantastic. Like there's
definitely slowdown. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, God forbid. I haven't played it in handheld, and I can't imagine how much worse it is on handheld. But there are instances where it's like there's too many enemies on the screen, and or too many things on the screen, and it's just everything slows down to a crawl. Well, not crawl.
I think it only happened to me like maybe like once or twice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just part of a Musa experience.
Yeah.
The Musa jank.
At this point, I barely noticed it, but I mean, the things that I did notice was that the camera would sometimes get fucky if I was like in a small area.
Yeah, especially if you play Rivali and you're like just flying around randomly, just get stuck behind something.
Yeah, and that was.
Or like if you're
annoying.
like if you Z target one of the big enemies and you're trying to fly around them, sometimes it gets fucky too while you're like doing your midair attacks.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to Z target the big enemies, because otherwise that's the easiest way to dodge them. So it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I noticed that a couple times. It's just in like areas that are cramped or like in walls and stuff. But it does happen. In the castle, I feel like it happened the most to me. The camera would just kind of get stuck, and I wouldn't even be able to see my guy, but I'd still be mashing away on the button. It's just funny.
Trying to figure out a way to get out.
Yeah. But I do like that all the map, like you mentioned, like. There's a lot of assets. I think they just borrowed assets from Breath of the Wild, But I do like that all the maps, like, take place in specific areas of the map. And
that you instantly recognize.
Yeah, exactly. That you recognize from the games. I think it's really neat. Like, there's, one of my favorite stages I thought was really cool was playing through the Yiga clan hideout. I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
Because it's just cool to revisit these areas that you recognize if you played Breath of the Wild. They're obviously different layouts and not one-to-one conversions, but it's still really, really cool to just replay in these areas.
Oh yeah, for sure. And seeing how they used to be versus how they are in like Breath of the Wild is always fascinating to witness as well. Like I've been watching fucking Game Explain videos of like comparing like different areas Age of Calamity to Breath of the Wild, and it's just fascinating to see fucking ruins and buildings and shit like that, and we're in places that you never really expected them to be. It's really fucking cool.
What were you gonna say, Yos?
I was gonna say, I mean, I generally agree with that, but like I did feel like the environments felt kind of samey to me. I mean, even though I think it's because I'm used to Hyrule Warriors, where it's all the different Zeldas mashed up, so you have a lot of variety in each world.
Yeah.
Whereas this game, it's it's the same world, so everything looks pretty much the same. I mean, and that kind of like felt a little bit drab.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, going from Hyrule Warriors to this, it's like just one aesthetic the whole time instead of like going through and like visiting like locales from different Zeldas. It's just like one.
Yeah, that's one thing I enjoyed in the original Hyrule Warriors more.
Fair enough. Yeah. Speaking of like, I'll go back to like Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity jank or Muso jank. One thing that kind of like it wasn't like game breaking, but it's like a kind of like a little bit. It irked me a little bit. is like the special attack animations, whereas like it doesn't, like if you're on a cliff, it doesn't recognize that you're on a cliff, so it just kind of like the animation just clips through the ground from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
I had sometimes
like,
where just like, usually when you use a special move, the camera does a cinematic view where it's like zooms around the character while he's like saying something cool and then the pose and then he does his attack. Sometimes the camera would just stand still and like the characters are just doing their animations.
Yeah.
Like the game recognizes, we ain't doing this right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's impossible. You're in a really fucked up spot. I did notice that. It's kind of funny because you're like, well, I broke it. I made the game not be able to play that cutscene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Uso Chank for sure in those kind of situations.
I wasn't a huge fan of the healing items in this game. Like, I just found them, like, I was glad they existed, but like, finding them was very inconsistent. Like, you were never really sure when you were going to find them. So there were times where I was just like out of apples and I was like, okay, do I just have to run around looking for them?
Yeah, I've had that too. Luckily, the game is very forgiving if you do die. You just hit retry and you just retry from like your last like checkpoint kind of. I didn't die until like late game and I was like, fuck, am I gonna have to do this map all over? And I was like, oh no, I'm start right here. Okay, whatever. I'm in a way better position now. All my characters have full health. I'm ready to go.
I mean, and you can also use Mipha to heal because she has healing abilities, but if you're not using her, then you're kind of fucked.
Yeah. I did find there was like a hot spring one time in one of the Goron areas where if you just stand in the water, you can refill your health, which I thought was cool.
They introduced that in a way that I thought that I was going to find a lot more hot springs in the game.
Yeah.
And I never found one after that.
Yeah.
I found like one more and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they put it in. It's like, because it's in Breath of the Wild, and you just fucking chill it. It's the same fucking mechanics. But I can see why some people would just kind of like jump into the idea of like, oh, this is going to be like part of the like other stages as well.
So, I do want to talk about. Let's talk a bit about. We talk about presentation, talk about gameplay. I do want to talk about how this, the story of this game a bit. So this game is a prequel to Breath of the Wild. So it takes place before.
Where is it?
Takes place before the 100 years before Breath of the Wild begins. Because if you have played Breath of the Wild before, it takes place where it basically in a future where a lot of stuff has happened in the past, and the game kind of goes through and you have to go through and unlock like memories and find out what happened, why the world has been taken over, why Hyrule in particular has been taken over by Calamity Ganon. But this game tells the story, or seemingly is going to tell the story of how Calamity Ganon took over. Which I guess in that case, yes, it does. But it does. We'll get into it.
I guess
because it does go over.
Tag right here.
Spoilers. If you want to skip ahead, I'll leave a spot in the description below where you can click for a timestamp. That way you don't have to if you want to play this game full on without any spoilers, feel free to click that timestamp below. If you've already played the game or you don't give a shit, well then continue to listen. But yeah, the game starts off. You have Zelda Link, and the threat of Calamity Ganon is being talked about. They know that they need to gather up champions to pilot the.
Well, I mean, the start of the game is the fucking Guardian going back in time.
Well, yes, yes, which is which definitely sets you up for okay. I kind of know what they're gonna do already in a way. You see this little Guardian, almost a baby Guardian that travels back in time, and yeah, that's the first thing you see in the game. But yeah, and then you have the retelling of the Guardians, them going to recruit the Guardians, that they need help to stop Calamity Ganon from being summoned, and if he does get summoned, they need their help to stop them using the Divine Beasts. Which, by the way, I didn't even mention, you do get to play as the Divine Beast. I guess a little side stop here. which is cool, but also after doing it once or twice, I had no need to do the extra Divine Beast missions on the side thing. I was like, yeah, I get it. It was cool and fun, but
I thought they were really cool. I did hope or wish that, you know how you can order people on the map? I wish you could order Divine Beast to attack certain places. That would have been awesome. But other than that,
yeah,
because they were like,
it does feel good to like wipe out.
Yeah, in some missions they were where you could like they helped in the battle and they were like
but
and shit.
I wanted to control them.
Yeah,
right.
But
cool. It does feel good to use them and like destroy parts of the map and like kill like thousands of enemies in one shot, and the big laser beam where you just fire and just like obliterate everything. It feels good. It's a fun little like extra thing they added in the game. You know, to pilot those Divine Beasts. It's cool.
Imagine if you could have like broken like a wall that you needed to get through. Like, oh, yo, break this wall for me, and
that would have been cool.
That would have been dope.
That would have been cool. Yeah. But yeah, you get to pilot the Divine Beast. You do recruit the 4 champions, and you know it is cool to re-see these champions because in Breath of the Wild they're all dead. Although you see them they're talked about in the lore. You see them in the flashbacks and stuff like that in Breath of the Wild, and you unlock their powers to help you out through the way. But in this game, it is neat to see them getting recruited and stuff. You know, Zelda in particular, and Impa.
You get to see them interact with each other and what their relationship was. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't that much of a relationship, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to see that, yes, but they don't fucking do enough of it at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not
but that's the thing. It's like you didn't get any of that in Breath of the Wild, so it's nice to see.
No, I would say that you got almost more of it in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, like
actually.
Yeah. In the past cutscenes that you unlock in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because one of my biggest gripes with this game is the story, and one of my biggest gripes of the story is that they treat Link as an afterthought in basically the entire game. It's fine, it's cool that Zelda's the main character, but Link basically has no role.
Yeah, Link is very weird because in a game like this, because it almost doesn't work for Link not being able to talk. Because so many times in playing through this game, I was like, Link, can you fucking say something?
It very much doesn't work that Link can't talk.
Exactly. Because in Breath of the Wild, Link is your character. He's like he's you. You know,
he's your player perspective.
Exactly. So it's not as big of a deal when he doesn't talk. But when he's like a side character, not the main focus and like the only character you play as, it's like he's just a weird guy who is in the background.
I love the idea that he's just a mute and he can't talk and he just hums and hums at everybody.
No, but in one of the cutscenes, it's like Link told Zelda to go over here, and I'm like, did he? I want to hear him say that.
Yeah. I mean, it reminded me a lot of Dragon Quest XI, the fucking main character of that game. Like, he should fucking talk, but he doesn't, and it's so weird. Yeah. And it's the same exact thing. Like, it's so awkward. Like, some games just, like, when you have a silent protagonist, it just highlights it so much that they can't talk.
Yeah, I think it's almost to the point where we are in video games, where most things are full voice acting and cutscenes, and, like, you can't have that anymore. I think the days of that are almost gone, you know, especially for JRPGs. You know, because back in like the Super Nintendo, even PlayStation days, it's like it was fine because it was all text and your character not talking. There wasn't like cutscenes as much, you know. But now that it's like all just like full cutscenes, everybody's talking except for your character. It just seems so out of place now. And it's very highlighted here with Link. I do 100% agree. I was like, come on, like he seems like a jabroni.
Yeah, and much of my disappointment, and I think this stems from the fact that they couldn't make Link talk, is that there weren't any scenes or many scenes of Link and Zelda getting to know each other.
Yeah, there's
a lot more of that in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
way more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Link and the Guardians, you know, the champions, getting to know each other. Like, what? This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
They had interactions though. It just didn't have like that.
I mean,
strong-
yeah, they had very basic interactions.
Well, yeah. But the one
yeah.
thing they did have, like, well, I mean, should we even get? I'll get to that part of the story later. Never mind.
Dude, whatever.
Yeah,
We're already in the spoilers. We already told people there's spoilers. So you can
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, the characters that you actually get to interact with in Breath of the Wild, like with the ancestors of these champions, they kind of like fly back in time to save the current champions when they're in trouble. And
Yeah,
you
basically
get to
the point where
finally
they were
see like
supposed
interactions
to die.
between them and the ancestors, which
Yes,
is cool.
I do like that, but they only talk to their ancestors. They don't talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
And they don't talk to Link.
Which, like,
Yeah.
one of the Guardians fancies Link. So it would be nice to see that fucking thing play out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's one of my biggest fucking problems with the game. It's just like the story that I was expecting was not the story that I got. Like,
Oh, no,
any
not
stretch
at
of the
all.
imagination.
Nope.
None at all. And
Yeah.
that's really, really sucky. Because I want to know what happened 100 years ago. I want to see these relationships and how they were 100 years ago. And I feel as though I've got nothing out of it. Like, I've had spent more time in side quests and doing side missions, etc. And I had more fun doing that than I was doing the main story. Which is
and
quite sad.
And honestly, I feel like this is hard to assess in some respect, because so much of my disappointment with the story is my own expectation of what the story was going to be.
Right, 100%.
But
Yeah.
the only way to read, I mean, the most obvious, straightforward reading of the premise, if somebody tells you they're going to make a prequel fucking to Breath of the Wild, and it's going to be set 100 years in the future, the only way to read that is going to be like that you're going to expect a straightforward fucking story that's going to actually lead to Breath of the Wild. This game does not lead to Breath of the Wild. This is wildly different.
Yes.
It's an
exactly.
alternate universe, which
It's-
Nintendo loves to do with all its
Yes.
Zelda games.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
It's a
I mean,
Zelda game.
I get that, and I'm mostly fine with the concept of that. But
Yeah.
they had so much to work with, and
Yeah.
they just threw it away. And you're
especially-
never gonna get that story now,
Yeah,
unless they do it in
especially-
Breath of the Wild 2 or something.
Well, I mean, they are.
Sorry,
just
which
fucking-
they won't
Write
not,
all the story or
because
some shit.
that's going to take place after Breath of the Wild, so there's no way they're going
But
to
yeah.
try to even go
But
back. so.
yeah, I mean, it's especially disappointing because that was kind of what you were missing from the original game too. So you kind of wanted
Exactly.
Yeah.
And oh man, it was heartbreaking to not get that, because that's what I really wanted. I wanted the context, the fleshing out of all the stuff in Breath of the Wild, and this
Yeah.
game did not deliver on that.
Yeah, because I mean, I agree. When I first heard of this game, I thought, you know, my instant comparison was Rogue One, right? For Star Wars Rogue One. That movie, you go into that movie knowing it's not going to be a happy ending, right? And they do it. I love that movie, by the way. I think they did a great job of building it. You know these characters are going to die, but they built them up and made you care about them in a way in 2 hours that you were like, shit, I know they're going to die. And then like halfway through the movie, you're like, damn, I like these characters and they're going to die. Shit, you know, like they make you care about them. So when it does happen, which it actually does happen, you're like, damn, this kind of sucks. I knew it was coming, but this still sucks, you know. And this game, unfortunately, it doesn't do that. It basically retells what the past would have been if they did beat Ganon.
Yeah, they were basically building it up, like showing, like, oh, the champions are gonna die, just like in Breath of the Wild. But
Just like Breath of the Wild,
last
but they don't.
fucking
They get
second.
fucking time travel. And then,
Also, how did that time travel work exactly? Because
They
that
never
fucking little
explained it.
guardian
It's-
was not there.
Yeah, no, well, actually, there was a point where the little guardian
Ran
just, like,
off.
cried and shot a laser beam in the sky, and nothing happened at that point. But
So
after,
he created 4 time portals at
well,
the
he
same
basically,
Yeah.
like, cried into the
Basically.
future where the ancestors heard him and somehow traveled back.
so you know how time travel's fucking.
It's
fucky,
the easy
no matter
cop
what.
out of, like, to fix
Yeah.
things.
It's lazy.
It's I mean, it doesn't even follow from the first fucking scene that they show him where he creates his own time portal. Like,
Yeah.
he's not even there to do it. So what is that? But you know, you just have to live with it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I was kind of hoping to actually see them die too. Not because I want to see them die, but because I wanted to actually show the story on how Breath of the Wild became. And I was actually expecting, like, that guy to, like, actually destroy everything and bring Calamity to Hyrule.
Mm-hmm. And even, like, they shy away from letting anybody die. Like, the king doesn't even die.
Yeah, and they actually made it so dramatic in the cutscene that he sacrificed himself so Zelda and Link can get away.
Yeah. The little guardian doesn't even die.
No.
You recruit him after the king.
Yeah, you can put them back together. And you know, it's very... it's a shonen anime right there. Nobody actually really fucking dies, even though they fake you out 38 times.
Yeah, I mean, man, I was disappointed.
Wanted more drama.
Speaking of Star Wars, the little guardian is just straight up a fucking Star Wars droid. Like, the sounds he makes and everything, and he's basically a little sidekick. He's 100% a Star Wars droid.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
He is cool, and I do actually like the.
He actually
I do like the end.
had a good. He's the one that had like the best build up between the relationship between like Zelda and the character.
He's the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess besides him, I think the best relationship for Zelda that I like through the game is Urbosa. I do like the way Urbosa and Zelda interact with each other.
Yeah,
and
they're cool.
How it's like she's kind of like a mother figure to her.
Yeah.
I do like that, but
I also like.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I also like some of the relationship they hinted towards between like Daruk and Rifa, where it's like all their training buddies, or like that Rifa asked for like help with Daruk.
Yeah, but they mentioned that like twice and for almost no time, and they don't even train together.
Exactly, and
there's
that's
a side mission
part of it because they don't
actually
actually do that fucking thing.
Oh, and the side mission?
There's a side mission for that where you have to play as Mifa and you fight Daruk. Is like.
Do you get like a cutscene for that?
Not cutscene, but you know how there's like text that pops up in the
like
left
special
corner
interactions
of the
between each other.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
So they talk to each other and like say stuff, but there's not a cutscene. So.
Yeah, I mean, so like I was saying, I'm disappointed that Link is an afterthought, and I'm disappointed by the time travel. And I'm also disappointed by Zelda's character arc in this story. Yeah. It's the same as Breath of the Wild.
Which sucks.
She's just anxious about not having powers. That's the long and short of it.
Yep.
Like,
I do agree with that to an extent, but I also did like seeing her kind of like have a moment where she was like leading Hyrule.
Yes, and it's so shallow, and it just leads to everybody wins and nobody loses scenario that it's very basic. Like, she just becomes like the leader, and that's it. Like, it's not interesting.
No, yeah.
I agree with that, Kristen, but in like in a different way, because like Breath of the Wild stories of Zelda is literally telling what happened to her 100 years ago, so you kind of expect that sort of story to be retold in Age of Calamity, but like it's as you say, the way it's told is just so fucking bland and shallow. It's just almost meaningless.
Yeah, they don't flesh it out at all.
Nope.
Yeah, like I'm okay with it just being about her anxiety, because that's what fucking Breath of the Wild said. Like, that's what the past was. So I'm okay with that. I just hate that they never actually fleshed it out, as you said.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
There are certain points, they're like little details that they actually contradict with Breath of the Wild, because in her diary that you read in Breath of the Wild, she clearly points out that her father was really against her doing any of the research with the Guardians and the technology, and wanted purely to focus on the training, and he was like extremely harsh on her. In Age of Calamity, he lets her do her thing, but also gives attention to do her training. So
I think he's still harsh with her.
He's nowhere near as harsh as she made it to sound in Breath of the Wild. Like, he literally took away everything from her.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, here she's like, "Oh, I have this piece that my mother gave me." I was like, "Okay, you can do whatever research you want to do. Just make sure you don't forget your training." That's literally it.
King Rome is a piece of shit.
He's a jerk. At the end of the game, there is that cutscene where she's building the little robot, the little guardian, and he takes it away from her.
Yeah, but
he's like, "I told you not to do this."
That's when she was like a complete child, like before like her sealing training began.
Yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's weird.
But
Can I just mention like this music in this game, or do we have anything more to
yeah, I mean, we can end our spoilers right now if you want, and then we can talk about the music in this
Oh,
game. Yeah.
one more thing for spoilers. Master Kolga's amazing. I love him so much.
I do like his stress meter and then like the beam he shoots.
Yes,
That's pretty
that
dope.
beam was like great for like fucking big bosses or like tough enemies. I'll just destroy them, especially Hinox's.
Yeah,
You don't
I was kind of
Yeah.
I was kind of sad reading it. Suga.
Suga.
Oh yeah, Soga's
Yeah.
fucking badass.
Suga was pretty
But we'll
good.
probably-
Badass.
We'll probably get him
Yeah.
later.
We
It'll probably
never
be
got
DLC.
explanation how the fuck Kolga stays alive for 100 years. It's so
No.
mysterious. I love it.
Yiga magic.
Yeah.
We didn't really get the explanation of that. What's her name? The scientist girl.
Well, yeah.
No, you get the
Korra?
It
get
kind
that
of
Breath
does
of the
explain
Wild.
it in Breath of the Wild, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to see it happen. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's whatever.
But yeah, I'm so glad the Yiga. I really hope the Yiga clan in general is like the next rival team, like, and stays like the main rivals against the Sheikah and like are present in future Zelda games because I fucking love them.
Not just the Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
universe.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're cool. I do like them. So
They do
I
like
them
bananas.
too.
Yeah.
They love bananas. All right, well, that's spoilers. And Saf, you said you wanted to talk about the music in this game real quick.
What a huge step up from Hyrule Warriors, the first one. The music is so fucking fantastic. Like, I really love how they try to emulate the music from Breath of the Wild, but they've added their own like style
Yeah.
to it. They never tried to go for like the pop rock.
And that is
And I
a
love
really
how-
challenge because Breath of the Wild barely had any music.
Breath of the Wild is like a weird, like it has like contextual music.
Yeah, like
you know?
ambience kind of
Atmosphere,
things. But
yeah.
like even like with
Yeah.
the music it had, like the forest, the Lost Forest. It's not called the Lost Forest, is it? I can't remember what it's actually called. Is it called the Lost Forest? No.
It might be. I can't
Whatever.
remember.
The forest where you get the Master Sword, Kokir Forest.
Yeah.
They had a remixed version of when you play through it in Age of Calamity, going through that forest. They had a remixed version of the Breath of the Wild, and it was like really cool. Like they mixed it in with like the battle, like a more battle version of it.
Yeah, I did like the remixes, and I liked hearing the different boss themes too when you would fight like the
Hinox
big
or the
monsters,
Stone Talus.
the Hinox. Yeah, I always thought the Hinox theme was really funny. I liked hearing it again. You know.
We didn't even talk about Hestu.
Hestu.
You know, come on, guys. Maracas.
You're right.
Yeah.
Maracas of power.
We didn't. I mean, he kind of sucks.
It's funny.
He's not great.
So, yeah.
It's
What were
funny.
you trying to say, Seth, before I interrupted you? Sorry.
Oh. No, it's just like I was just gonna mention them as well as like how dynamic the themes are, like how
Oh.
easily interchangeable they are, depending upon how the fight goes. Like, except from like the Hinox themes, like a lot of the different like the music itself changes its pacing and its styles slightly whenever you're like in a different situation. Like as soon as you break the weak point of some of the fights, the music changes to just kind of like be a little bit more energetic, just to give you that little umph of like, yeah, fucking beat the shit out of this guy. You're at that advantage. And I really like I really like how dynamic they've made the music and the changes in the music as you play through the stages. That's what I was gonna say as well, or add to as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And actually, speaking, I mean, in terms of music, I guess with sound design, I thought the voice acting was even better in this game than it was in Breath of the Wild.
It was.
Yeah.
I
I thought
still
Zelda
don't
was
like
better,
Zelda's voice. I don't know why.
I thought it was better. I actually kind of didn't mind it now.
I actually am on Noah's side now.
I
I
like
liked
Zelda's
I liked it in Breath of the Wild. Now this time around, it got kind of.
I didn't like it in either of them, but
I guess I've just come around on it eventually. I did when I first played Breath of the Wild. I didn't like it at all, but maybe I've just kind of come around on it. I don't know.
I think it's because her story didn't change enough for me. That's why. Like it just felt like more of the same shit. That's probably why I
in terms
hated
of
it.
acting, I think the acting
but even
was
like
honestly better.
it's I don't know if it's the voice actress or it's just like the way they presented it, but like she just sounds like, I mean, I get it because she was having trouble with like her seal imagining everything, but even at moments where she'd be happy, she still sounded so fucking down, like kind of monotone a little bit. So like, maybe that's what I don't know. I just don't like it.
Like, it improved that, but I wasn't a fan of the voice acting. I never liked any of the voice actors.
I like the champions a lot, actually.
You like Link's voice actor, Chef?
Like, I think the champions all have...
Rivali's good,
they're good.
Daruk's good,
Yeah.
Mifa's okay.
Urbosa's great. I like
Urbosa's
Urbosa.
great, yeah.
You know, I'll give you Urbosa. Like, Urbosa was fine.
Koga's
And I guess
amazing.
It's cool. Who is your favorite champion?
You know, I didn't
Just
like
all of you.
Rivali in Breath of the Wild, but I definitely came around in this game.
I still don't like Rivali.
I'm gonna say Mifa, but Urbosa's a close second.
I would say probably Urbosa.
Urbosa there.
I do like Mifa's scenes with her little brother.
Yeah.
Before and after.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. Those are like my favorite parts of the game.
I love Sidon. I love him.
Yeah, Sion's
he's
great.
good.
Yeah,
I love the trait that he gets as well. Like when his introduction is literally
winning
just a winning
smile.
smile. It's like
Award-winning
100%
smile.
yes. 100% yes. Yeah.
But you can't help but love him. Yeah, I mean, I think Rivali, to me, he's such a fucking douche.
I know.
It's so hard.
Absolutely.
I can't like him. He's a douchebag.
That's what I felt like, exactly how I felt in Breath of the Wild, but here it's just like, he's so much more douche and an asshole. I'm like, you know what? I like that.
And Daruk is probably the least interesting, but I just hate Rivali because he's such an ass.
I like Daruk. Like he's fun. Like
He's the
funny.
big guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he is less interesting than
Yeah, exactly.
Mifa and Urbosa.
He is likable, but less in terms of characterization. He's less the least. He's like the least interesting, I guess.
Yeah. He's a likable character, but he's just dull.
Exactly.
Nothing going
Very
on with him.
likable. You can't.
Yeah.
He's hard to hate him, but yeah. What does he bring besides like, hey, we're having a good time?
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, it sounds exactly like the root.
Yeah.
You just met his voice actor right now.
Yeah, that's me. It's been me all along.
Tell him to his face you hated his voice actor.
That's fine. Critics can be harsh. I understand. So yeah, I mean, anything else you guys want to mention before we move on here? That we haven't talked about yet.
One last ancillary thing about the story, not necessarily the story itself. I did think there was too much narration in this game. There was a whole lot of narration scenes.
Yeah, especially for a Musu game, it's like, holy shit, they really tried to make this more about the story than anything.
Well, not only that, I felt like I wanted to see what was happening rather than hear about it. Like,
Right.
I didn't want to hear the narration. What was going on.
Yeah, we kind of got a lot of what we got in Breath of the Wild, where it's just like, this happened, this happened, this happened. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. Yeah.
And it's not presented as interesting as it is in Breath of the Wild, because here it's just the straightforward. Where Breath of the Wild you explore and unlock pieces of the story, which I think is
And that's
a lot
definitely
more of an
cool,
interesting way.
getting the lore that way. But when you want to see a story unfold, Breath of the Wild didn't have that, and this tried to do it, but
It had it, but again, you had
They
to go
relied.
spec-
They relied too much on narration. Like they should have showed the scenes.
yeah.
Show me what you're talking about. Don't just tell me.
Yeah.
All
Which is my
right.
thing.
Anybody else?
Anyone tried the 2-player mode? And
I wanted
no.
to try that with Brandon, I just kept forgetting.
Yeah, I remember me and you played Hyrule Warriors. The first
Yeah.
one, we played some co-op in that one, but yeah, we didn't play it co-op in this one. So, but I'm sure
I wish it
just
was
speaks to
fucking
the screen.
online.
Mm-hmm.
But
It should be online, honestly,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Would have been nice. I don't know why they,
I mean, if it was struggling already with the amount of characters on screen, I can't imagine.
Sure, but I don't know. You can have a Muso game online in 2020.
I think so.
They probably
Yeah.
can handle it.
Well, with that being said, I will get into recommendations, and I'll start with myself because I chose the game. And would I recommend you to play this game? Yeah. I mean, if you are a fan of The Legend of Zelda. If you are a fan of Breath of the Wild, obviously, if you're a fan of Musou games, I said it earlier, it probably is the best Musou game that I've played. So, I definitely would recommend this game. Obviously, if you don't like any of those things, you're probably not even listening to this podcast, so what the fuck. But, I definitely would recommend it. It is a very thorough and good time to play through. You're gonna have fun while you play this game, one point or another. So definitely. Saf?
If you are a fan of Musou games, I would definitely recommend it. If you are like a fan of Breath of the Wild, you may be disappointed by it, but I would still recommend you play it just for the experience. But yeah, that's my kind of like take on it, if it makes sense. But yeah, I would definitely recommend people playing it. But just if you're looking for something more for like the lore or the history of Breath of the Wild, don't look for it over here. Just fucking get the fucking book set that came out of it or whatever the fuck. What was the fucking book? The Champions of Hyrule, Making of a Champion or some shit?
Making of a Champion, yeah.
Yeah, just get that instead. You'll get more out of that than you get out of this game.
Telling people to read a book on the game club.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? All right, Ilse?
Yeah, sure. I think people should play this game. I think it's probably a little bit better than the first Hyrule Warriors. Probably a good amount better than the first Hyrule Warrior game. So if you like that one, you'll probably like this one. Like I said, I have problems with the story, but story's not everything, I guess. It does have a pretty satisfying gameplay and a lot of unique movesets. So sure, play it.
All right, Noah?
Yeah, pretty much, just play it. It's, even if you're going in expecting with like, oh, this is going to be a Zelda like Hyrule Warriors. Well, basically it is Hyrule Warriors too. But, even if you're not a fan of like Musou than just Zelda, it's like it's a different spin on it. It's interesting enough to like give you a different perspective and like give you a different experience from Zelda games, which is good. And they did a decent job at it.
Right. And with that being said, now it's time to take this game, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, and add it to the list!
The list!
You can follow along with the list in the Pastebin link that we're going to put in the description below, where every episode of the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, we take whatever game we played and we add it to this list. It is an ongoing list where we also add games every week on the normal episodes of the Jump Up Supercast. So we're constantly adding games. It's going from best to worst, and we just have to figure out where it goes on that scale compared to the games that are already there. So with that being said, hope you're looking at the list because it is big now. We're up to 229, about to be 230 games after this.
We're at 230.
So we are at You're right. We are at 230. This one hasn't been updated. I'm looking at the wrong one. But yeah, so we're at 230 already. There's a lot of games here. So take a look at the list. That way, when we talk about it, you'll know what we're looking at. Let's see. I always start with whoever picked the game. I guess I would start with me. But you know what? I think because Saf is not here very often, he has been here in a while. I think I'll hand that over to Saf. I'll let Saf start the conversation with where you think it should go on the list, Saf.
Well, fuck. Now I have to think of my place.
Well, all right. Let me just tell you, Hyrule Warriors is 144.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, give you
Hyrule Warriors is 144. Okay, definitely higher than Hyrule Warriors. So, looking at, I was thinking about whether or not we added Hyrule Warriors, but glad to know that
we did.
We did.
Will did.
But I want to put it above No More Heroes.
Where is that?
It's 110.
10. No More Heroes.
Dang.
Okay. I actually don't mind that.
Because the core gameplay, most of the Musou games that you play is just being able to ram through like hundreds and hundreds of enemies and shit like that. And that core gameplay is still incredibly good and incredibly well done. They've added to it in terms of like the music as well, and they made like all the other side contents more like on one map, whereas like the previous Hyrule Warriors, that's like an entirely different mode that you have to get access to in order to unlock more shit.
Yeah, they
Like,
kind of
this
like
one
blended
seems
in
more-
all nice and together into one big thing, like one mode.
It's more cohesive and it's more it's more cohesive, and that's why I feel as though like it's a much better package than its predecessor. And it's still, despite my dislike for this story itself, a lot of the other elements of this game is just really, really good.
Yeah, like
And
I mentioned before, like to give it a try, even if you haven't not like a fan of Musou games, because this game basically like mixes a lot of little details, especially like with the combat, with the rods, with the Sheikah runes and all
Flip.
that stuff, or Sheik runes. They blended in so much with the gameplay that it just feels like a lot of Breath of the Wild, just in different game like battle style, I guess.
It's like an extension
Yeah.
of Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
yeah, extension of Breath of the Wild, 100%.
Basically, yeah. More so of that than actual like a traditional Musou game, which is weird.
Yeah. No, I think it's one of the more approachable Musou games
Yes.
too.
So talking about Hyrule Warriors 1, I said earlier that I like
Yeah, it's slightly better.
the environments of Hyrule Warriors 1. And I stick by that. And I do, like, because it's a celebration of the whole Zelda franchise, and I think that's really cool. And I do also prefer, the story, I guess, of Hyrule Warriors 1, even though there isn't much of a story. I think my thing is that even though there's not much of a story, there's less to criticize, so that's always good.
Even with Lana?
Lana's not that. I mean, my thing is that I like playing as Ganon, and that part is fucking
Yeah.
cool.
That part's awesome. That
I
part
was
is
about to
awesome.
say, like, the original characters in Hyrule Warriors that they made, like Lana, Sia, whatever her name was, and like, I was
Yeah.
not a fan of.
Yeah,
I felt way
I
too
agree.
shoe-in for that, but yeah.
I agree, but I mean the other stuff, not counting them. Fuck them. But yeah, I think I would put it like below Pandora's Tower. I still think that game was more effective.
It's Pandora's Tower, 130. Okay.
130.
130.
Yeah, I don't think I would put it above Mario Tennis Aces. This game, like, I do like the combat. I felt so turned off by the side quests because it was just more of the same.
It's overwhelming. Yeah.
And in essence, I mean, the story is just the story missions are also more of the same. So, I mean, by the time I got to the end, I was just exhausted of the game. I didn't want to
If
play
you
anymore.
played Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, that game is even worse with the side quests. Than that
Oh, I
material.
didn't
Yeah.
do the side quest because it was curtained off and the other
It's
fucking zone.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous in that game.
I didn't bother.
Oh yeah.
Which I was fine with. That's why when you say they're melded together here, that doesn't really seem like a good thing for me. But I mean, I understand it.
Sorry.
So yeah, that's my take.
Okay.
Like I personally, like I would, to be honest with you, like even though like I found the side quests, as Brandon says, like the side quests were way more overwhelming in Hyrule Warriors. But even though it was curtain off, I still prefer the side quests of this game, and I still prefer the way they presented the side quests in this Age of Calamity to Hyrule Warriors, because like the cohesiveness and because how much more connected it felt to your actual game and
Yeah.
how much
Some
it affected
of
your gameplay.
you're right. Some of the side quests do kind of extend from the story, like again with Mifa training with Daruk, or just each character
Yeah.
kind of like you unlock them and then they have their training moments and they have little things where like, I'm trying to be strong. I don't know, just little things here and there, and just the side quests feel more of an extension of the main story than definitely than they would in Hyrule Warriors, where they're just randomly there as like this side mode thing.
Well, I mean, I feel like it was more incentivized to do the side quests in this game than in Hyrule Warriors. Like, you didn't have to do them at all. But in this game, you get, like, bonuses. You get, like, bonus combos. You get bonus hearts. You get, stuff like that. So
You did unlock stuff in the map modes in Hyrule Warriors as well.
I honestly don't know if I prefer the upgrade system in. I'm leaning to I prefer the upgrade system in Age of Calamity to this game. To Hyrule Warriors. I feel as though I would definitely prefer that as well. Like that one was another thing that they've included in, or they've changed in Age of Calamity, in terms of like how you upgrade your characters or how you level up your characters. And I feel I prefer the way they did it in Age of Calamity to the way they did it in Hyrule Warriors. Like there's a lot, to me, there's a lot more that they've done right and improved upon with this game than they did with Hyrule Warriors. And I feel so like those types of changes elevates it greater than Hyrule Warriors was, because even though it was a great game, there's still things that was just kind of lacking of that. Like the story itself was pretty lacking, and like one of the things I mentioned way earlier is like the way you fight mini bosses and bosses. The fact that it's more of a waiting game, and like a fucking kills your pacing when you're just slaughtering through enemies, and then you just stop yourself and just completely stop your entire fucking aggressiveness because you have to wait until you hit the weak point of the mini boss and then just kill it.
To be clear, I'm not saying this game should go below Hyrule Warriors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think us comparing this game to Hyrule Warriors at this point, we all agree that it's better. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if we.
I'm just saying it's like why I'm just using that as a comparison point just to kind of highlight how much more better it is, to kind of like justify the
being
20 ranking difference between my choice and fucking Ailsa's choice. Like I'm trying to say like it's much better than what my opinion of game is. That is much better than Ailsa's.
But is it better than the games that are on the list?
Yeah,
like that jump.
Like for those reasons, like it's like a lot more cohesive. It's a lot more connected, and it feels a lot more like the. I don't know how to describe it. It's like it feels when a lot of the side quests that you do is like feels a lot more. There's a word for it, and I just can't remember it. Like rewarding. It feels a lot more rewarding to do as a side quest because like it actually has a tangible effect on your character and the way it levels up. Like for those reasons, like I feel so like it makes a much better package, and as a result, I feel as though it should be ranked higher than where Ills wants it. Like I feel as though like I prefer playing I would prefer jumping back into Age of Calamity and just walking through that than just going through No More Heroes again, because like I don't like the fucking world of No More Heroes, like running around there.
I wouldn't agree with that. I mean, I don't like the open world, whatever the fucking world of No More Heroes is, but the boss fights are way more.
Santa destroyed.
The story, the boss fights, all that shit, just a lot more satisfying in No More Heroes.
Right.
Just to clarify, I was only talking about like the hub world and like the open world element.
The hub world, I mean,
it's not
while it has some interesting like your bedroom and stuff are cool, but yeah, exploring and driving around that motorcycle is pretty fucking shit. And the area is very open and it's very bland and there's nothing to do. It's just
no arguments there.
So you know what I was thinking, and here's one. I don't know if you guys can agree, but I was thinking like underneath Sin and Punishment, Star Successor, which is kind of in the middle of those.
I was kind of looking at below Mario Party 2. Just above Wonderful 101.
I would still. I love Mario Party 2, but I feel like I'd put it above that.
I want to put it above Mario Party 2 as well. Yeah.
What about below Rondo Blood?
I can't have an opinion on Rondo Blood. I haven't played it. I should play Rondo Blood. I have Rondo Blood. I should play it.
Go for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I would.
What makes Shantae and the Pirates Curse better than Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity?
Well, Ills hasn't played that game. I think I'm the only one who's played that game. So.
Ah, shit. What makes Mario Kart 64 better than Age of Calamity? Let's go for that one.
The multiplayer, the maps. I mean, I think it's. I don't know. I mean, how do I? Okay. Mario Kart 64 versus Age of Calamity. I think Mario Kart 64 is more fun. I think the action is more impactful. I do think like it's more fun because you have more of a, it's not as repetitive. It's not as, the fights aren't as, fucking challengeless a lot of the times. You're not doing the same thing over and over again. I know racing is the same thing. But you know what I mean. You're doing
what you mean, yeah.
You're doing the races. You're fighting against. You're racing against the characters. It's different every time you play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the randomized items changes every time you race a map.
Yeah, not every.
Not much to say about a racing game to compare to like a freaking music. Yeah.
The Mario Kart series is one of. I mean,
well, I do feel like Mario Kart 64 has
racing.
aged quite a bit.
Totally.
But
I mean, that's why it's not as high as like Mario Kart 8.
But
I
would. Sorry for interrupting. I would say like you get that sense. I feel so you can get that sense of variety in the Age of Calamity, and one of the good.
I did not get that.
What I was about to say, one of the good things about Age of Calamity, like if you're getting sick and tired of it, you can always choose not to do the side quests and just kind of.
I didn't do the side quests, and I was still very I was exhausted of it by the time I ended it.
I didn't. That's probably I think I'm just on the cusp of it.
Yeah, I mean it's different strokes.
Yeah,
so I couldn't really possibly comment on like
each
how
other. It's like hard to compare shit.
I just mean in terms of of how personal enjoyment of a video game too is different strokes too. Where
I must say though, props to Ills for managing to do that sort of comparison.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I tried my best.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna just because again I haven't beaten the late game part of it yet because I'm too busy having fun with all the side quests and all the other shit that I'm doing, so I can't really speak or trying to argue against that because I don't have any experience of it. So I'll just take Ilse's point on that one and just kind of agree to put it below Mario Kart 64.
Wait, what do you mean you haven't done the late game stuff?
Afterwards
I'm on
when
the cusp
you
of
fix the robot and stuff.
I'm on the cusp of chapter 7, where it's
wow, okay.
Yeah, so I've not reached chapter 7 yet, so I haven't really gotten to the point where it's I'm getting overwhelmed by 3-4 different Lionels at a time. I've got to the point where I'm fighting 7. I'm on a map with 7-8 different Guardians, so I can kind of see where this is going. But I haven't reached to that point that you have already reached, where it's
So if I think you're going to be so overleveled by the time you fight them, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I mean, you put 60 hours or 70 hours into the game already.
Yeah. That's Saf.
I mean, these kinds of games are perfect for Saf because he just dumps hours and hours and hours in. So I don't know.
Yeah, again, different strokes, Yeah.
For different folks, yeah.
Yeah, if some people
I like making my characters ridiculously fucking destructive. Yeah. It's just that's part of the fun, building the most destructive, chaotic fucking creature you can ever get.
So is there a place that where's your stopping point, Saf? Where's your?
I'll take. Wait, where's my stopping point? What you mean? How low?
I don't know. We gotta find some sort of area. We gotta come to some agreement at some point.
I'm gonna concede to Ills, and I'm gonna put it agree to put it below somewhere below Mario Kart 64. But that's as far as I'm gonna be in regards to that. Below Mario Kart 64.
Okay. Noah, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine, honestly. I can go lower, but
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to originally put it below Sin and Punishment Star Successor, so below Mario Kart 64 is one spot different, so I don't give a shit about that.
Sorted.
There you go.
There we go.
So, that will put Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity at number 117 on the list, and surrounding it, we have number 115, Sid and Punishment Star Successor. Number 114. Am I reading this right? No. Yeah, no, number 116. Sorry, I don't know why I started going up. Part 64. Number 117, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Number 118, Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Number 119, Illusion of Gaia. So that is the list. That is the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. But before you go, don't shut off the podcast just yet. We got a couple things we got to go over, including, we're going to do a few plugs here. So if you want to follow us, want to continue to support us, there's plenty of information I'm about to dump on you. So if you enjoyed the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, please make sure to check us out. Favorite podcast listening service of your choice, including SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube, where new episodes of the Game Club go up every other Thursday, and the normal Jump Up Supercast episodes go up every single Monday. So give us a follow, a like, a share. Feel free to let us know what you think about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity in the comments below. And if you want to support us, if you enjoy what we do here, we do have a Patreon where for $1 a month you get the chance to choose one of our Game Club games every round. So if there's a game you really want us to play, you can throw us $1 on Patreon and get entered into a raffle, which is coming up pretty soon, where you can choose a Game Club game for us to play. You also have access to our Discord, where you can hang out and talk to us about games and such. Again, if you want to support us, we would appreciate that a lot. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to stay up to date. Everything Jump Up Supercast related. We post when episodes go up and all that. So please check us out on your social media to stay up to date. And you can even catch us streaming on twitch.tv/JumpUpSupercast, where we play video games, and you can come hang out and see what we're playing. And as always, I want to thank everybody for listening. But real quick, Ills, it is your turn now to pick a game for us. So what is the next game that we're playing?
All right, well, this is my final pick of the year. We're coming up on the end of the year. And to celebrate this accursed year of 2020, we're going to play a game much like our current hellscape. We're going to play Fallout, the original RPG.
Oh, the original.
Yeah, wow. The original Fallout. Holy fuck. All right. Well, join us in 2 weeks when we talk about Fallout. And you can catch us everywhere where I just told you. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Ills. Thank you, Noah. And thank you, Saf, for joining me here and playing video games. And most importantly, thank you guys for listening. Go out there, play some video games, and be nice.